What's up guys, welcome back to another video, hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to be playing some MX Simulator and most importantly we're going to be playing 2023 Fox Raceway. This is the first round of the RF Championship and hopefully if I've edited this video correctly in the background you should be seeing some comparisons between the last 2 years' tracks and this year's. I'm not sure who's responsible for this year's tracks or this first track in general, but it is absolutely incredible. Not just from a visual standpoint, but it's actually got ruts that look like ruts. Now, no disrespect to the past 2 years' tracks. I don't know who's been making them or what the deal is, if there's time constraints, anything like that. But visuals aside, the ruts in the last 2 years, in my opinion, have not been ruts fit for a quote-unquote simulation game. They have been perfectly smooth, they're all uniform, you know, one after another. There's no crossing over, there's no hooks, there's no bumps. This 2023 track looks absolutely incredible. So what we're now going to witness is my slow and washed up arse trying to get around said 2023 track. Bear in mind, I have done no sim outdoors practice prior to this, so it's probably going to be very, very difficult to do. And to be fair, any tracks that I have done over the past year or so, since last time I tried doing any sort of sim racing, have probably been highways in comparison to these. Now, hear me out, because I've actually, I looked in the RF Discord prior to posting this video, and I see a handful of people not enjoying this track. And honestly, I hate using the term because I think it's hella cringe, but I do think it's just a skill issue. I think people are so used to having these highways where you hit everything like 4th, 5th gear wicked that they're not used to actually having to slow down a little bit and pick their lines. Now, bearing in mind, I've never been to Fox Raceway IRL. I know that it's a track that's open to the public, that I bet a bunch of you guys watching have actually ridden that, so you can tell me just how rough and how deep it gets. But at least in any of the professional AMA races that I've watched, the track gets so beaten up. You know, the ruts get super deep, they've all got hooks and holes in them. So to try and replicate that in game, I think it's a very, very good job. And considering this game is now essentially meant to be an esport, shouldn't the tracks be built to challenge the best of the best players? I mean, that's just my 2 cents on it. It could be a completely unwarranted or a wrong 2 cents because I don't even play the game anymore. But that's just how I feel. Sometimes I feel like people can be a bit harsh on track creators overall, but I definitely not. I haven't doo-dooed on the tracks in the past. They just haven't been my particular cup of tea. Probably couldn't choose a more British expression if I tried, but I felt like I had to pop in and just say W's on this track in the Discord because honestly, such a good job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And what's really nice as well is I'm running the highest quality track, bearing in mind they release like 5 or 6 different resolutions or qualities for people with potato PCs. They have different object packs. You can have high or low res objects and crowd removers and stuff. I'm running everything on max. Game settings are on max as well. I'm not running reshade, bearing in mind. I can never quite work out my reshade on this game. I don't know why. But yeah, for whatever reason, I just can't get it to work. But everything's running very, very smoothly. It feels great, it feels fluid, it seems to be fairly well optimised. The download sizes were quite small too, which again is a W. Something that I feel like MX Bike struggles from sometimes is the track and like all gear download and bike downloads. They always seem to be really, really big in terms of files, so it takes up a hell of a lot of space. But I've just done a lap. That is my first lap. I promise you, I have not touched this track until now, and got around it absolutely fine. So on the surface, while it might seem quite tricky and difficult, bearing in mind I'm going probably a hell of a lot slower than a lot of people would around here, it still seems fairly straightforward and doable. Having not kept up with the MX Simulator lore or the behind the scenes, I don't know what the road's going to be like this season, because these, I mean, this one track, I keep saying these tracks as if there's been more than one release yet. With it being so much rougher and the ruts seem to be a little bit deeper as a base, I wonder if they're just going to run a lower road setting or maybe no road setting at all. That would take us back to the glory days. I did see Mr. Donut and MX himself, Mr. Brett Powers. If you don't know who that man is, then I don't know where you've been. Barks on and off of the virtual dirt course. He did leave a comment saying it kind of takes us back to 2017 era. And honestly, I have to agree. I think there was this area, not English, there was this era in the game where we had like people like Checkers and Barrington both like alternating tracks throughout the season. So we had two absolutely goated track makers. That is the second lap in a row I've gone off the track there, I am aware. Yeah, two goated track creators like working side by side throughout the entire season, taking on different tracks each. And the tracks were just banger after banger. And I imagine with losing them two, but again, bearing in mind I don't know who's actually responsible for the tracks these days, because it just gets released under like the RF name, not people in particular. I should probably ask around. I'll see if I can find out. I imagine that it's a hell of a thing to try and pick up, to try and match that sort of quality is unreal. But whoever they've brought on board this year, whether it's from a visual perspective or an actual rut and bump perspective, I will use pats on the back all round. You have my seal of approval, that's for sure. And honestly, you see a lot of sim videos that I do these days are just on the sort of weird and wacky tracks, whether they're enduros, whether they're like don't fall tracks, for example, where you're up in the sky like 200 feet and it's just obstacle related. I think a lot of that is because I don't really like the tracks that get built in the game this day in terms of normal ones. I think everything's so fast paced, the traction is so ridiculously high. I feel like the last track that I downloaded that I've really properly enjoyed as a track was Jay's Anaheim 1 replica. I can't remember what year of Anaheim 1 it was, but it had super high like resistance in the traction, so you went a lot slower than normal. It was slipperier, it was like scaled 1-to-1, so the jumps were a lot smaller, and that's just the sort of gameplay that I enjoy. And I know that it isn't for everyone, otherwise that's probably the way the game would go. The game, or the track creators, cater to what people enjoy, and I'm sure there's probably some OG sim players, maybe you're watching this, maybe you're not, I don't know, out there who would agree with me. But honestly, if you go back in time and you look back at some of like the really early Nationals tracks, even if going back as far as like 2012, 2013, they are absolutely brutal to try and get around. Unfortunately, I feel like with the introduction of 450s in this game, can't actually remember the year, but I think we've got like 2011, 2013 450s in it. The game has just progressively got faster and faster, jumps have got bigger and bigger, and I do still think the 450s in this game are massively overpowered. You can come from almost a complete stop, like 5-10 feet away from the face of a Supercross triple, just seat bounce it and soar over it no problem. It is actually nuts. But I suppose that's probably why some of the tracks have gotten so big in terms of scaling, to try and compensate for that. But then when you increase the scaling, you just increase the speed, and it all just kind of snowballs. I mean, so far going around here, I am tiptoeing because I don't want to fall flat on my face over and over and have you guys have to watch me picking up the bike again and again and again, because it's not like MX bikes. I can't just press a respawn button. I do have to sit and think about my actions for 7-ish or so seconds before I can swing a leg over the bike again. I imagine once you start trying to hit this track with some actual speed, trying to set qualifying laps, I can see this being quite frustrating for people, but I am always a firm believer of the guys who are meant to be at the top of the field will always find their way there, regardless of what the track is, regardless of how long you have to qualify. It will always be the case. If it's the same as Supercross, I want to say the racing is like on a Wednesday or Thursday. So the fact that the track has been released since Tuesday, I believe, is a little bit insane to me. I'm surprised they don't go down the route that we have on bikes, where the track releases, then you get a password released like 30 minutes before qualifying starts, so everyone's got like a limited amount of time. I feel like having the track out for a day or two before it all starts does really just add a level of sweatiness that I'm not prepared for, which is it's one of the reasons I'm not going to be trying to make any races on this game this year. One is for my sanity and my hairline. Like, the stress that I had throughout the 2021 season was actually disgusting. 2022 season, sorry. I actually did do a lot of grinding, a lot of sweating to barely make it into the motos, and then when I did get into the motos, just the racing IQ in general was just not there, you know. And this, if you get taken out in bikes, fine, you lose 2 to 5 seconds maybe, depending on how far you bike cartwheels. But being taken out on this game, however, yeah, them 7 to 10 second JLV legs off really are another thing. They are so frustrating. So you won't catch me trying to compete on this game anytime soon. Not even like I could if I wanted to. Very washed up, and a lot of my focus is on bikes now, with that season starting on Friday, which might even be the day you're seeing this. might see this Thursday, Friday, maybe even Saturday. It all depends. Depends what the upload's like. I know I'm going to record a bunch of videos today because I'm fed up of getting to 10, 11 PM at night and then suddenly rushing to do a video. I want to finally get ahead, and I had the chance to do that today, so that's exactly what I'm doing. But I really wanted to give some love to this track as a whole, because I saw the picture of it posted and I thought it looked insane. I then downloaded it and flew around the track before even setting foot on it, and I was like, yes, this is it. I mean, look how difficult this downhill is. For the professional riders in this game, it's probably very, very easy, but again, for someone like me, not so much. But that's what it needs. If we want to try and push Simulator as being this esport game, it needs to be difficult. So I generally do enjoy seeing it. The rough is spot on. The ruts are very, very good. It's nice seeing the ruts have some rough in them, having hooks in them, not being a perfect just 180 corner like it was the last 2 seasons. And if they keep this up through the whole year, it'll probably be one of the best set of tracks that the game's had. So massive shout out to the RF crew. A little bit different, a little bit, yeah, just a little bit different to usual. A little bit of a shorter one. I'm sure you don't need to see me wobbling around the track over and over again. I'll leave the track link in the description for you as always. And I'm going to love you and leave you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely rest of the day, wherever you guys are up to, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.